I'm Dr. Joni, let's talk. So I hear this often. My kids don't listen. The teacher says that child doesn't listen. The parent says that child doesn't listen. I hear all the time, he won't listen, she won't listen. That's ineffective communication. I'm gonna say that again. That's ineffective communication. So what's that about? Are you boring? Are you not saying anything important? Do your kids just not care? It could be all of the above or none of the above. Given that I work with kids who have learning issues and ADHD and autism, when I hear this complaint in the office, it's typically in the context of other things going on with the child. It's not that everything is rosy and perfect and the only issue is that they don't listen. So when I put it in terms of that concept, what do we get? Well, what we probably get is a child that has a barrier to communication. So it could be that they have an auditory processing issue. Now you may say, well, what is auditory processing? Okay, auditory processing, using your ears to deliver information to your brain so that your brain can process it and act. Okay, that's auditory processing. So right now, in order for you to hear what I'm saying and for it to make any sense to you whatsoever, your brain is auditory processing, right? It's processing this auditory information I'm providing. Well, sometimes parents will say really simple things to their kids and their kids just stand there. So I may say to my daughter, Sid, that's her name, Sid, I need you to go upstairs, get my purse, grab my coat, and come downstairs. Well, if Sid had an auditory processing issue, she might just stand there and look at me for a minute. Well, as a parent, we're often impatient. Because when we say something simple like, go upstairs, get my purse, bring it back downstairs, how hard is that, right? Too simple. And so oftentimes if our child is sitting there, standing in front of us, processing, but they're not acting, we feel like, you're not listening, you're not acting, you're not doing what I'm telling you to do. When the reality may be, I'm going to do it, I just need to understand what you just told me, and I'm still processing that information before I can turn around and act. So sometimes it's not an issue of them not listening. They're listening, but we're not giving them enough time for our words to be heard and processed. But you never thought about that, huh? Sometimes kids don't listen or don't follow instructions because maybe the instructions are too complex. But earlier I talked about ADHD. What is it? Well, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, people who have that have really short working memory. So what that means is that if you give them more than one task to do, they forget. So for example, if I say to somebody with ADHD, come downstairs, pick up your shoes, put them in the closet, that's 3 things. Well, they might remember the put them in the closet, but they forgot to come downstairs and pick up your shoes. So they may go to the closet and think, what am I in the closet for? Well, it appears that that's ineffective communication. It appears that they're not following directions. When the reality is I gave them too many steps. And because of their ADHD, they couldn't retain all those steps. So they weren't able to get all that information in their head and process it and get it done. So sometimes when we feel like our kids aren't listening, they're not following the instruction, it's because we're not doing the best job of getting them the information that they need to act. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is this thing called love languages. And I do this whole talk on effective communication using learning styles and love languages, which you'll be able to download from this app in a couple weeks. But to sum it up, is sometimes what we say to our children is of absolutely no value to them. And you may say, well, if it's of value to me, then it's going to be of value to them. Okay, reality check, parent, that's not always the case. So if I ask my kids to do something that makes absolutely no sense to them, for example, go clean up your room, when they go to their room, it may look like a mess to me, but they know where everything is, and it's just exactly how they want it. So it's not that they can't follow instruction or they can't listen. It's what I've asked them to do is not important to them. It has no value and it doesn't make sense. So here's the bottom line. If your child just doesn't listen, if they don't do what they're told to do, once again, there could be something else going on. And the very issue could be that we as a parent are not communicating with them effectively so that they will, one, understand what it is that we've asked them to do, and two, so that they will value it. I know this is going to spur more questions for you. So please don't hesitate. Go to the Contact Me section of this app, ask those additional questions, and also be looking out for the 20-minute training video that's going to be posted shortly on effective communication using love languages and learning styles. It's a good one. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.